on this webinar. So that way you're not lost on everything, okay? Now, right here are the new templates. Now, again, I'm going to go through in a minute what each indicator is, but I just want to do a quick overview of what the templates are, because they're pretty obvious. So right here, you're going to see, boomerang. Well, that's the boomerang strategy, okay? So, and these are all the same thing. It's just, what flavor do you like here? We got white background with open, high, low, close. We have, candles with a gray background. Okay? What do you like? Is that a preference that you have? You can go over here. You may go, I like the darker background. So, and you can set it up however you want to, blue, pink, blue, So, it may confuse you, by the way, having pink up and blue down. If you don't like that, then just change it. Okay, and I'll show you how to change that, but it's really simple. Just go to data series, and you can literally just say, for my down bars, I want to use fuchsia. So you could literally just reverse it around if you want to. And for the up bars, you can make it, cyan. So you can edit all of these any way that you want to, and now you just, inverted it. Just if you do that, make sure you do it on everything and be consistent. Okay? Maybe you like that view. Like, this view is very popular for those that are trading at night. They like the darker charts. Okay? And we got all different, there's all different colors in here. But all the boomerangs are the same thing. They're set up the exact same way. They're just different looks and feels. You're free to customize and make your own. If you do make your own and there's an upgrade, be aware you're going to need to remove the indicator and add it back on. Okay? So remember, again, remove the indicator. Like, especially if it looks weird, you have to remove it and add it back. Or load one of our templates up and then customize it a little bit the way you want, and then you can right click and apply that template across the board. Okay? Does anybody have any questions on how to access templates? I'm going to make sure we don't have any questions on how to access the templates before I move forward. It's pretty straightforward. Okay. Right here, this is just a really, really basic. I got a request. Some people are saying, hey, can I get just a quick deviation? So maybe if you just subscribe to deviation levels, okay, or you just want a quick chart on deviations, you can choose that right there. It'll just bring up a really basic chart just with the deviation levels on it. This is good for P3 traders. It's also, really great sometimes just for news. If you just want to look at, you're breaking down, you want to look at a 1 minute bar, and you just want to see the movement on the news, like the granularity of everything. So that's one. I like to actually see. I still like to use like the boomerang or elite charts because I want to trade the news. Now this is good if I'm just straddling or strangling. If I'm going on trading directionally, this can help me out quite a bit. Okay. Everybody good on those? Okay. Awesome. Yeah, we just keep bouncing off that one deviation level. So, I still got my position on there. It's still going. And I could close it out, but you got bid-ask spread. So, yeah, from the earlier section there where I went over it, I was talking about it. You actually don't pay bid-ask spread if you hold a trade till expiration. That's something that people don't think about. Now, I am not big on holding trades till expiration most of the time. Okay? And awesome. Okay, so we got John in here. I'm going to okay. Cool. Mute your mic, John. There we go. Okay. Okay, so right there. So, anyways, that's the that template. Okay, if you're going in, maybe you want we have the P3. That's sort of the same thing. There's really not much of a difference at all on the P3 template. You won't really notice anything that's going to be like wow. But it just was more for definition. So somebody was looking for like how do I find that P3 core trade? Where we're looking at 1 minute bars. It's literally the exact same template. Okay. Some of you are looking for the new Spike Striker template. Okay, so we added that in right here. So real simple. It basically has the volume, which is really easy now because we don't have to add in like 3 data series. So we put the Spike Striker on there, we put the deviation levels on there, and we put the 5, 10, and 15 minute actual volumes on there. So without having to add an additional data series. So you can just literally flip through instruments and check out Spike Strikers. So pretty sweet, simple method for you to be able to take advantage of that trade. And let me check something real quick. Okay, yes, that one is expiring out. Not bad, like $60. Okay. So was that 15 times, about 5, 15, so yeah, $75 on that one. Okay, but sorry, I just wanted to look at my position I had on. And we'll see here. A quick lesson for you, but you can, again, like I said, you don't have to pay bid ask spread if it holds to expiration. We were right at that line. I wasn't going to worry about it. If you tick pop in the last couple minutes on a spread, it's not a big deal. It's not like a binary. And I saw no reason to worry about it just flying back the other way on that position. Okay, let's see what else we have. That one's closed out and done. Now, let's go in and let's see what we got on the other templates. So, any questions about the Spike Striker? Does that make sense to everybody? If you haven't traded that before, I get that we're not going to go over it in detail. I just want to make sure you know that that template now exists for you. So we will do another webinar and another video on Spike Strikers. We actually have a video already on them. This is just a lot easier template to use. Essentially, a Spike Striker is at a 1 deviation level, high to low. Okay. When you get a volume spike, expect the market to reverse. I mean, that's the simplest explanation I can give you. Here's an example from this morning. It moved up half a deviation and down half a deviation. And notice right here, okay, that's what this black line is. That's 1 deviation high to low down here at the bottom. At the same time, we got a Spike Striker. Okay? And so I can bump this over to 5 minutes to show you. So you usually put them on 5-minute bars. That's how I usually trade them. And so you can do it right there. Or you can go down to 1-minute bars. You can do it however you want to. There's a lot of ways. I even see people do it on diagnostic bars. Okay? But when it moves that 1 deviation high to low, I mean, this was news based, so you better be on the lower time frame than 5 minutes. But normally, this would be like what a 5-minute chart would look like. When it flies down, we expect it to pop up. All right? And then we also expect it to have a magnet and pull back. And this is the big piece people miss. But it'll go up and it'll pull back to that price. So we do expect a reversal, we expect a little bit of chop, and then we often expect it to come back to the price. If it comes back to the price and exceeds it with volume, which you can see, man, 5, 10, and 15, all exceeding with volume. We expect it to keep going down. It does. It actually moves on down another half deviation to the 1 deviation level. So again, not going to spend a lot of time on Spike Striker today. That's not our main focus. My main focus is making sure you understand how each one of these indicators work. But I just want to show you first the templates, and then we're going to go through each one of the indicators. Okay? All right. I think I got all the Q&A on that. But yeah, Joe, I'll get up a video for that, okay? But again, if you use this template, but check under deviations, deviation level trading system, right here, and I actually go through screenshots, videos, and more of how to trade the spike striker strategy. Okay. All right. So check that out, and then check this out right here. But yeah, we'll have just a spike striker training, section put up. We have a whole new plugin that's now done, a learning management system, and now that we have the toolkit done, we can start plugging in videos to it. Other templates. We go over here, templates, load. So again, this is really simple. I'm just trying to, just sort of like let you know what's here, okay? So you got the boomerangs, you got simple deviations, P3, same thing. We got the spike striker. This is, combined. So if you want to put all, the MVP and the boomerang together, okay? I do not suggest that you do this until you've mastered boomerang. Don't even touch MVP, because it's going to confuse you. It's going to give you opposing signals, which often we end up butterflying. It can be cool for confirmation. There's a lot of advantages to it. But to begin with, just get the boomerangs down. Okay? Then you can work on adding in the MVP. Because if you add the MVP on right now, you're going to be confused. So, an example, I'll flip over to MVP with boomerang just to show you what it looks like. But master one thing. Don't try to, hop between 20 different trading strategies. Okay? So come on, break that deviation. Come on. It's trying. So it keeps coming back and just bouncing off of it over and over again. I'm like, come on. But anyway, so right here, we've added in basically just two different things. We've added in the MVP indicator itself. Okay. And then we've added in the MVP confluence indicator. So which basically just gives you a confirmation of trend direction. But again, it'll be confusing because we're doing contrarian trades with boomerang. So sometimes it may tell you one thing and we're doing another, because we're just trading the contrarian play. So it is cool. It's very advantageous. It has a lot of good benefits, but it will confuse you. It will make you a less effective trader because you'll have analysis paralysis. You won't be able to make a move. Okay? So I highly suggest that you add that in after you comfortably have down the boomerang strategy. Okay? Just a little tool tip for you here. If you click on the chart up here, and make sure you're not clicking on anything specifically, but just dead white space. And you can use Alt up and down to make the bars wider or narrower. Okay? Also, you can zoom by clicking the time and dragging it back and forth. You can zoom up here by clicking this up and down. If you ever, let's say, can't see anything, like maybe you see this, or you see, like way down here, just click that little F box in the top right corner. It'll bring it back into focus. If you want to move the chart up or down, you can hit Control and move it up or move it down. Also, you can do, if you're clicking on the chart over here, you can do Control up to zoom in and Control down. So just play with your Control up and down, your Alt up and down buttons. Okay. Those are just some very simple tips. You can drag and drop indicators to different panels. Like I can click here and I can drag this down to here. I could drag it up here, which obviously I wouldn't want to do, but I could do it. And I can just move it back. I just clicked on it with my left mouse button, held it, and then drag it to where I want it to. Okay? So those are just some very, very simple tools. So yeah, another great tip is if you want to see euro dollar, now I recommend that you add all your stuff to your default list. Okay? But you can also, if you want to change instruments, if I want to go over and look at the Aussie, I can just type in Aussie dollar. And it'll take me right to it. Okay? I don't have to go in and select it. I don't have to add it. I recommend you add it, but to your default list. But, like if I want to check out Apple, like I have, stocks and everything feeding in, I can add those in, and it'll load that up for me. Okay? So there's Aussie dollar. So, there's a lot of little tips and tricks. And one of the biggest tips and tricks I can give you is go in and just look at the help manual. As funny as that sounds, yes, there is a help manual. And right here, let's see if they got it on this or not. Might be under Support Center. Let me see. Okay, yes, okay, help guides right here. These are, connection guides. We have videos on all this stuff, by the way. So there's a lot of stuff. There's trainings. There's literally video trainings, interactive training videos, YouTube videos, and they even have like charting and new user orientation, using the DOM level 1, level 2, the market analyzers, trading Forex. So there's a lot of great videos right here, just over in the training center, that you should actually use. Okay, and then the other section is you can go in and just go here to education, go to Ninja Trader. We actually have the help guide right here, and it's amazing how helpful the help guide is. You can go in and you can do a search, and you can search for whatever it is you're looking for, and like bar size or whatever, and you'll have all sorts of stuff in here. And my recommendation is literally just to go over here and go through the table. Like, you could literally go through this thing really quick. Okay? Like, what all the tabs mean. Operations is probably the biggest thing. So, you can go in here, the data grids, the market analyzer, market replay, news, order entry, session managers, time and sells windows, the control center, the charts, saving charts, saving templates. If you just spend a couple hours going through this, you will feel like you own Ninja. You've mastered Ninja. It is so worth your time to not be frustrated. And it's amazing. I'll go back and I'll review it and I'll be like, oh, I didn't even know that. I still have traders telling me tips. I don't even know all the features in it. And it's not that you need to know everything, but it just really helps. Window linking. It's great. You can go in, you can have a market analyzer, and you can have a DOM, and you can have time and sells, and you can have a chart all linked together. So if you change one setting, it'll change all of them for you. Okay? So, just a bunch of little things. But, I recommend that, you spend some time. You don't have to do that to master trading, but it'll just make your life easier if you'll spend a little bit of time doing that. Okay? Okay, so that's the templates of the last set of templates we have. Like I said, we have all these templates in here. The last set I want to show you is actually going to be the diagnostic bar templates. To do that, you need to go through, there's one more template before we flip over. If you're an Elite member, you can actually load the Elite templates right here. So we go down here. I have a 4-minute one, okay, that has like everything on it. And so I'll load that up, and that has, Apex, Boomerang, MVP all together. This is how I like to trade. I actually like to look at all this stuff. And then I'll show you the diagnostic bars. That'll be a summary of the templates for you, okay? And then we're going to dive into each indicator and what the settings are and what they mean. And, by the way, we're going to be cutting this all into their own section and videos when we go into that, okay? All right. And sometimes it does take a while to load because we got so many different things happening, and I got the webinars up and everything else at the same time. But yeah, let's check out this one right. There. Oh, it's because I have it on 1 minute bars, so I'm loading like 150 days of 1 minute bars. Yeah, that's not good. Okay. It got there. It got it done. Okay, let's move that back over to 4 minutes. Yeah, so basically what Ninja basically does, it goes in and it downloads all the data. It builds all the information in the charts, all the indicators. And then after it's built it all in the background, that's why you see like this white screen while you're waiting. It's actually going through and calculating everything historically because it does it down to the tick. Okay? And honestly, our charts do take a little longer than some charts you may have used before to load up because we actually force it to go down to the tick, down to the millisecond. Okay? And, I mean, that's why we can track velocity and speed, and we're going for accuracy on your charts. And if it takes a few seconds more to get the accuracy versus take like a snapshot, which is what like the Renko bars on Ninja do, they take a snapshot. They're not accurate. They don't show you wicks, and they change every time you load, more or less time. So for the accuracy, you do pay a little bit of time, but in my opinion, it's worth it. Okay, so this is basically the apex pattern. So you can actually put that on time-based bars. And then you got, the MVPs on there. You also have volume on there. We also have expected ranges. In addition to that, we have confluence, and we have the deviation levels. So there's a lot of information on this chart. You're going to have to build up to this. Okay? It's not really a day one chart. The next piece is actually going into the diagnostic bars and those templates. And so you go over here and just go to Apex Diagnostic Bars. And now again, this has all the Apex stuff built on it already. And then, really simple, just click OK. Yeah, a great reminder. Make sure that if you have not already, you go in and right here under the Tools, Instrument Manager, add in all your instruments, okay? And you can check over on our scanner. We have all the instruments laid out that follow Nadex. Of course, you can trade any instrument you want to, but we specifically lay those out over on the scanner under Nadex information. And so add all those in and make sure that they are edited. I go here, first edit them, and make sure all your session templates are default 24/7. If you don't do that, then you're going to get errors on the charts and you're going to say, hey, you need to make it default 24/7. You need to make it default 24/7. So just go in here to your Tools, Instrument Manager, look up all your instruments, change it to default 24/7. It may be a pain to do up front, but the advantage of doing that up front is you won't have to do it every time you open a chart every day going forward. Okay? So it literally will take you 5 minutes, maybe 10, to make all of your session templates for instruments that you trade default 24/7. Okay? If you don't do it, what you're going to have to do is every time you open a chart up, you're going to have to define the session template manually to be default 24/7, and then you're going to forget. And when you forget, what's going to happen is then you're going to have to go back and manually update it. It's just going to take you more time every time you do a chart. Okay? Alright, so we'll click on that. We'll load the diagnostic bars, and that was quick. It was already done because we had all the data. So here's, Apex Diagnostic Bars. This is one sample. I usually don't like candles on white backgrounds, but you can go in. Let's see. We got the candle on. I had a trade the other day. Heidi was asking for candles on black backgrounds. So on the diagnostic bars. So I made that template just for Heidi, and that's up and running. I went ahead and made it possible in all of them. So after that request. And it's not that you can't do it yourself, just it helps if you don't know how to do all the settings. So, right there, got it all laid out and all done easy. Okay? And you'll notice a couple things that I've done is I've combined timer and velocity together, because really you're just looking for the yellow velocity bars, but if you want to see the time, you can just highlight down here with your middle mouse button, and you can see the time, and you can see if there is any velocity bars, it'll tell you that. Okay, so you don't really need two different things for that. And I also combine close to close and high to low on everything, and I'll explain that when I go through each one of the individual indicators. There really wasn't a big need. I'll show you how to look at it. There wasn't a big need to see the close to close because we actually now have it up here, and I'll show you how to see that here in a few minutes. Okay. But yeah, we got all the different templates. If you don't like candles, if you want something else, maybe you like the gray backgrounds, and you can flip over to that. And I just try to make it easy for you. Again, feel free to make your own. It's just if you make your own, when we release new pieces to the toolkit, you'll probably need to remove and add back some indicators and then save over your template and then apply your template to previous ones. Yeah, it's still going down. Still got one position on there. So up a couple $100. Okay. Any remaining questions on templates? I know it's pretty simple, but I just wanted to let you know what's there. You can save a template right here. You can load a template. By the way, if you have an old template you want to get rid of, you can click it and hit remove. If you accidentally remove one of ours and you didn't want to remove it, you can just reinstall the toolkit and it will reinstall the templates. Okay? You can, but I don't recommend you save as default. Okay? And then, by the way, if you ever want to open a new data series, you can. I guess if you're always using the same one, you can save it as default. So I like to start out with a basic chart and then manually choose what I want to put on there. But to each his or her own. And on the, let's see, where is it at? Trying to find my control center. There we go. Okay, so on the control center over here, if you want to open just a basic chart, you can actually choose the chart template called None. All right, and that'll open just a basic chart with nothing on it. And then the last two pieces I want to go over on this webinar is we talked about adding your instruments to your instrument manager. We talked about going in and setting all of them to default 24/7. And I've set most of the defaults for you already, and a lot of stuff on the templates, like the minute bars and stuff, like making sure everything's loading 125 days. If you don't know how to do that, then let me show you real quick. But let's say this is on a 5-minute chart, or on a 6-tick chart. It doesn't really matter. On your data series page, just make sure you have it set to, again, to be defaulted at 125 days. So you right click, you go to data series, and you can do this on any indicator you want. Is you can actually right click on it, and you can, when you're in the indicator setting panel or the data series panel, and you can make that your default settings. I have 4-minute stuff on here, that's why it's not like in the 5. But anyway, so right here in the data series panel, you can change that to 4, okay? And then see how it says days 1 to 25? And I can even set my defaults open, high, low, closed, or candle, or whatever you personally like. And then right click and say, you can say set as default, minute period type if you want to. Okay? And click OK on that. It'll make that 4 minutes. Now, it's going to look weird because I have things like velocity bars and stuff which don't work on 4-minute bars. So this template doesn't really apply to the diagnostic bars. And you'll know that in the template name because it says tick size. So really this whole section right here was just some small tips and tricks video to let you know, little things about charts, adding instruments, setting up session, making sure your session templates are defaulted, make sure your minutes are defaulted, how to, zoom in, zoom out, where to find information, stuff like that. And let's see here, the last two pieces we have on workspaces. On the yellow message on the chart, that was because I had 4-minute volume bars. See how it says expected volume 4 minute? And I had 5-minute bars. And your volume bar or your range settings have to be equal to or greater than whatever the size of your bar is. So that's why it gave me the yellow message. It actually, on the yellow message, it said that. It said you can't use this size of bar. The yellow message is always an error message telling you need to change something or remove something, and it'll tell you what to do. So basically just sort of follow the directions on it. And Ben has built those in to save you from making, mistakes. Big thing. Save a workspace, call it whatever you want to. So I can call this workspace save workspace as, and I could call it, 2 charts, or whatever. Okay? And I call it 2 charts USD. I can call it Apex charts. I can call it my favorite Apex setup. I can call it FX nighttime or indice daytime, or you can make as many of these workspaces as you want. What it'll do is it'll actually save all your charts, how they're set up, and it'll put them wherever you had them. So you don't have to go back and rebuild and reopen the thing and reopen every new chart every time. Save it. Like if I have my charts and I have it in the top left corner of the screen, then when I open up that workspace, it's going to put it, guess what, in the top left corner of the screen. Okay? So, really, really simple to use and do. Okay? But make sure you save your workspaces. But the big caution I give you is futures roll over. Okay? And once they are done trading, like they're past last trade date, then you will start getting errors if you leave them in there. So every Friday, you need to roll any futures that are going to be rolling. Okay? Otherwise, you're going to have to go through and you have to delete a workspace. And we have instructions on what to do if you forget. It's just a pain to do. And if you'll just roll stuff, that means any analyzers, any DOMs, any charts you have, you need to roll them over. Over on the Apex website, under scanners, right here, if you go over to the scanners, then we actually have the information right here. So, yep, it's still going. So that's good. Anyways, we have the information right here under helps and tutorials. Sorry, Natix information. Sorry about that. That gives you the roll calendar and tells you when things are going to be rolling over. And so just check that. This is the 4th. Guess what? There's no rolls this weekend. Awesome. There's no rolls next weekend. Great. Corn and soybeans, though, they're going to roll on a Wednesday. So on the 11th, just make sure you mark your calendar to check that out because they're rolling on Wednesday. That means that on the 15th, at the close of business, you need to roll that contract on over. Okay? We got Good Friday here. It's like, hey, roll everything on over. And you got copper and silver. Okay, we're going to roll those over on Monday night. All right, so basically by 4, 6 o'clock before the next session. And for your futures, for your futures Forex, and from what I understand, Ben has actually already built in all the roll dates up till 2016. Okay, for the volume indicators on Forex. So, and so you actually don't have to worry about it that much unless you're trading futures Forex. You used to have to worry about that, but we actually have the roll dates even for the futures Forex contracts built in. Let's see here. And I think what he's actually doing is I think he's actually pulling directly out of Ninja's database when to roll over. Okay? All right. So let's see. You got a question up here. Where can I find on the website? You should have matrix of when a particular instrument will be moving. Actually, you don't even need that on the website. We have that. We're actually going to be adding a new feature. It's one of our, in the next 4 weeks, we're going to be adding a whole thing where it compares like 20 different markets and it shows how many ticks they move by hour. But you already have that right inside the toolkit. We built it into the toolkit now. We'll be going into that here in a minute when we go into expected range, which actually breaks down movement by hour. Okay? And let's see, Danny, can you send me you had a really cool setup. Can you send me a screenshot of that little setup you did where you just threw the expected ranges on multiple data series? And also share that as like an example of what we're looking at making over in Skype. Let's see. But yeah, it's just the expected range indicator. It's right here. You're looking right at it. Expected range. And it tells you every hour. Like this hour, we expect it to move 47 ticks this hour, 21 ticks this hour, So it literally will go into all the expected ranges by hour for you. Okay? But yeah, I'll be going through that expected range indicator in detail in just a minute, Boris. So first thing, I'm just trying to make sure everybody understands. Before I go into the details, I want to make sure everybody understands the overview of where everything is located. The last piece. Oh, you're talking about deviation levels. Okay. I'll come back to it, okay, Boris? So right here, the last thing I want you to do is I want you to make sure that you have that blank workspace, okay? And I close your workspaces out. When I close out that 2-chart workspace, make sure you close. There's an untitled one there. I don't really need that one. Okay. Before you close Ninja, I made a workspace called blank, so you can actually open the blank workspace. Okay. And what you want to do is you want to save that blank workspace. Make sure it's saved there. Make sure it's the last workspace you have before you close Ninja. Make sure there are no other workspaces open. Just blank. And then close Ninja. Then make sure your data series, your data connections, under like tools and account connections. So like right here. So it says connect on startup. Remove that checkbox for Forex and futures. Okay? On both of them. Close down, reopen. It'll open the blank workspace, which will be fast because there's nothing on it. No validation, no anything. Okay? It just, boom, it opens. Then connect to futures manually. Then connect to Forex manually after futures is connected. Okay, whether that be IQ feed or Forex or whatever. Okay? Then, what I recommend is I made one workspace for you called Easy Open. Okay? And this is literally just like a what you should do is just add on a really basic chart. I recommend you add on something like, Aussie dollar. Okay? Because it's never going to change. Keep it really, really basic. And I wouldn't even put a template on it. I'd maybe put like one indicator on there. So go in and we'll throw on something like just MVP or something that doesn't take like any time to calculate. Okay? Save that workspace. And that's all to do on it. Once you're done with it, okay, the reason I say use that is because it'll open up and it'll validate your license really quick. Because some of you have like 30 charts or 10 or 15 charts. So it's going through it, it's loading every indicator and validating all at the same time. That's what takes you forever. Let it validate, boom, done. It'll validate every indicator. So now when it opens every chart, it won't validate. Okay, it'll be done. Then you can close that workspace. You don't need it because the only thing you're using it for is just to open. So it's like open, it has the blank workspace already. Open the easy open. Now open your main workspace. Okay, so let's say that was the 2-chart one. And then there I go, and it'll load it up, and it does not have to go through and do license validation and every other little thing. Okay? So it's very simple process. All right, so Boris, you were talking about the deviation levels. Okay, not the expected ranges by hour. Okay? If you want to know when to trade something, okay, because you were asking a little bit different question there. You said show which time the certain instrument will be moving or not. That's never been a table on the chart. Okay? This is a deviation level for a day. This is a 1 day move. Okay? And so it shows every single instrument by day. This is the table you're talking about. Okay? If you want by the hour, that's actually on the chart itself. Okay? And that's using the expected range indicator. And now here's something Danny has done, which is pretty cool. He went in and he added instruments that have like tick sizes, okay, meaning like 4 decimal places, like Aussie dollar, pound dollar, euro dollar, dollar CAD, okay? And then he made them all transparent, and then he added just the expected ranges. He made the actuals transparent also. And so he could actually see, over the course of a day, what instruments move the most, what instruments move the least, when they pick up in volatility. So it's pretty cool to as a sweet idea. And so what we're actually going to do is we're going to use that idea. And he's part of the Apex Alliance, which are traders that are trading full time, that are contributing to Apex's tools, Apex's community, and Apex's education. And he's helped us out with a lot of different things. And so it's a really cool idea on just a way to analyze multiple instruments at once on expected range. So we're going to use this, and we're actually going to make a similar thing. We're going to make it pure tick based, so it's more tick size versus 0.006. It'll be like 6, and that way, if it doesn't matter how it ticks, and then you can actually select any instrument you want, and it'll automatically draw this graph for you for the week, the upcoming week, and that'll be on the website for anybody who's obviously a subscribing member. They'll be able to use that. Well, there is a background if I click on it. So I'm sorry, Boris, I don't really know what you're talking about beyond deviation levels. So, I know everything that's on the website, so I really don't know specifically. But if you want to know what's going to move, then use the expected range, because this updates every single hour of every single day for that specific hour of that specific day of the week. So if there was a table, if there is some table in some old post on the forum, it's historical information. It's outdated. This is live to the moment, current, right now. Every day. And extremely accurate. So, look right there. Now, this was news, so we're not surprised. But right there, boom, bounce. Right off of it. Perfect bounce. So yeah, we'll keep adding to it, but that's a pretty cool template. And again, all he did was he added multiple data series. So he went in and literally added like Aussie dollar 4 minute, pound dollar 4 minute, euro dollar 4 minute, US CAD 4 minute. He made all of them wide on close, transparent. He then added on the expected ranges indicator. He made all of those, all the actual plots transparent. And then change the colors so he would know what they are when he was looking at them. And, all right, everybody good on that right there? And that's sort of going to start Ninja Trader wrap up simple thing right there. Steve, so on FX futures, I don't have to do anything manually on rollover? No. Not unless you're actually trading FX futures. So you don't even have to have them built into your default list. I trade FX futures. But if you're not trading FX futures, then you don't even need them on your list. So it'll take care of everything for you. But if you're trading FX futures, obviously, you're going to have to. We'll get the overview of the different dates that change and keep up with those. Okay? All right. I'll wrap that session up, and this session up here again. This was just an overview of NinjaTrader, the templates, and just best practices on opening and closing at Ninja. Okay.